And so on Wednesday night, for those who were not here, we delve into a story about a man who was possessed with an unclean spirit that had multiple personalities. And when this unclean spirit saw Jesus from a distance, the unclean spirit, this man ran to Jesus and fell down in a form of worship and called him the Son of God from on high and gave him all of his accolades. And then the man turned around, one of those other personalities said, Jesus, what have we to do with one another? In other words, leave us alone. Jesus in turn, Nini, looked at that man, looked through that man, and said to that demon, he said, come out. He said, but on your way out, I got a question for you. What is your name? He needed that man to hear those voices on the inside of him and know the difference between his voice and the voices of those demons, so he wouldn't get the issues confused. And so those demons said, my name is Legion, for we are many. He says, and we don't want to be tortured or tormented. So if you would, give us leave. He said, but don't throw us into the sea. Now, why did he say that? Because demons can't swim. Never got the rhythm of the stroke. Demons cannot swim. But there were a herd of pigs. The Bible calls them swine, a herd of animals that were wild, wayward, and not clean. Animals that had an appetite for any and as long as they were full and satisfied. Found some pigs there, side of the mountain. And Jesus allowed those demons to go into the pigs. The pigs ran down the hill and drowned themselves in the sea. And when that city, when the Gadarenites started regurgitating that experience, when they vocally replayed what Jesus had done, they didn't emphasize the fact that there was a man who was once possessed with a demon, a man who was once full of succumbination. And we know what to be possessed by succumbination is. Come from the word succumb. Did I make it up? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. The word succumb means to give up. And this man was graveyard giving up, which means it was all over. Not only that, the man was possessed with a demon of sorrow and sadness and a demon of self-hatred. The man would cut himself, no self-respect, run around the graveyard in front of naked folk, in front of dead folks naked. But when Jesus called the demons out of him, when they found him, he was sitting down, clothed and in his right mind. And when the people started testifying as to what had happened, they didn't emphasize the fact that the man was healed, but they emphasized the method by which he was healed, because the method by which he was healed, it did a few things. The first thing it did, it confused the people's perspective. It confused how they saw things. And then the other thing it did, it conflicted with their priority. It seemed like the priority of the people was to heal this man. But when they finished telling them that the man was healed, but he was healed at the expense of your pigs, the people went to Jesus and said, you got to go. You got to get out of here. Conflicts with their priority. But then thirdly, they emphasized the fact that the healing of this man cut into their profit. The pig farmers, Big Eddie, were having a fit because they had lost 2 2,000, listen, 2,000 of their pigs to healing. Y'all, are y'all gonna leave me by myself here today? They had lost, listen, lost 2,000 pigs to healing. And where we left this story Wednesday night is that America is just like the people in the Gadarenes. They always panic when they lose their pigs. Now, what do pigs stand for? Pigs stand for possessions that are wild and unclean, but they bring profit. There are some policies and some principles that are anti-constitutional that America has embraced, and some of these principles have turned into practices that are wild and they're unclean, but they continue in them because it brings profit. America, I love you, ain't spewing words of hate, just specifying some holy truth. Now today, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And I always like to tell you all what I'm doing sermonically so that when you go other places, you hear the preachers, you can identify how he is presenting the presentation. Now, last week, what I did, I gave you an expository message, and the way I did it was I made it very relative, and I made it very applicative to the times. And usually what I do when I do an expository message that has the 3 points, the introduction and the 3 points, I weave and I interweave some illustrations into the meat of the supportive statement so you can understand what I'm saying. Amen? But what I'm doing this time, because on Wednesday I had to make sure that you got the meat of the matter, I saved the illustration of the premise for today. And so today what I'm going to do is give you some facts to prove what I had propped up as a premise on Wednesday night. I want to prove to you that America always has panic attacks when she starts to lose things that are wild and unclean, but brings her profit. And America's got to understand there are few of us that view people more valuable than pigs.